Let's continue to dig and let's create a hammer item that's going to mine a 3x3 area. Let's see. 121 Minecraft modding courses available down below, with over 11 hours of content covering everything from the basics all the way to block entities and custom mobs. Alright, we found some back and tell you more, and in this tutorial we're going to be adding a custom hammer item, basically meaning a 3x3 tool to Minecraft. This is going to be very interesting indeed. Now for this specific tutorial, we will be copying over quite a bit of code that is just due to the fact that, well, most of the code is not like too complicated, but it is like a lot to write down basically. So I do recommend immediately just going to the description and opening the GitHub repository if you want to, well, follow along with this, but I will of course explain all of the code and the logic behind it. Alright, the first step is going to be in our item custom package. We're going to right click new Java class, and this is going to be the hammer item class. In this particular class, this will extend the digger item over here, and we're going to hover over this, create constructor matching super, and we will remove the tag key, because in this case, the blocks that this particular, well, type of tool can mine, this should be block tags dot mineable with pickaxe, exactly, because in this case, I want the hammer to basically be a 3x3 pickaxe. Right, and now for the hammer item, we will need a static method, and I'm going to copy this over and then explain. Like I previously said, this is going to be available to you down below in the description in the GitHub repository. So basically, this static method gets you a list of block positions depending on an initial block position and a range. The idea here is that, well, the way that a hammer works is basically like this. You mine this particular block, and now what I need, obviously, is all of the blocks surrounding this block, right? So I need all of those blocks right here, totaling 9 blocks. And those will then also be mined. And in this first step, I basically just have this blocks to be destroyed method where I just get a list of all of those block positions. That's literally all I want to have in this instance. And this is basically done via this method where we will have a trace result. Basically, we're taking a look at what block the player is looking at. And then depending on the direction that the player was looking at the block in, we're going to expand this in different directions. Because obviously if I look down onto a block, then I need to expand this in the X and the Y direction, versus when I look like straight onto a block, then I need to expand it either in the X and the Y direction or the Y and the Z direction. That's the whole idea. That is what this is. If you're like, I'm not quite sure what's happening here, number one, once again, some more Java knowledge might be useful, because overall the entirety of the code here is not too complicated, and it basically just requires a little bit of sort of three-dimensional thinking and some amount of vector stuff, basically, like how vectors work and, you know, basically three-dimensional thinking. That's sort of one of the things. But that is going to be the first step over here. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to actually add this to the mod items. So we're going to create that. We're going to, let's copy over the axe actually instead of the hoe, because the hoe does not need that. And this is going to be the Alexandrite hammer, and then the Alexandrite underscore hammer right here, which is going to be a hammer item of course, Alexandrite here. Then we're going to make this a pickaxe item, create attributes. And then here we're going to change it to, let's say, having a 7 over here, but maybe a minus 3.5, because the speed of a hammer, right? That's like it's a really beefy like hit, right? 7 damage, but minus 3.5 in terms of speed. Let's add it to the creative mode tab as well to have this. And let's just go through the lang and the texture before we add the specific thing, basically meaning the actual functionality. Let's get the Alexandrite hammer over here. There you go. This is of course also available to you in the translation. Very straightforward. And when it comes to data gen, we just need another handheld item over here for the hammer. And then we can actually proceed to add an event, because this needs to be done via an event. So in our tutorial mod package, we're going to right click new package called event. And inside of there, we need a new Java class called the mod events class. We'll talk about events in a future tutorial as well. However, for the time being, we're just going to sort of have to take this in as it is, and then we'll see. Above it, we wanted to add the add mod.eventBus subscriber. So this is above the class, basically. Inside the parentheses, mod ID equals tutorial mod.modID, bus equals bus.forge, which then turns into mod.eventBusSubscriber.bus.forge. And here, very importantly, we're going to actually copy over the contents of this. And once again, those are all available to you. And you can see we have a private static set of block positions, which is going to be the harvested blocks. And most of the stuff here is sort of taken with the help from the COFH core right here from 119. So it's quite a while ago, from the area effect events class. And this is under the Don't Be a Jerk license, which, you know, I'm hoping I'm I fall under that, and just so that you're aware basically where some of this comes from. And the logic here goes as follows. Once again, I'm going to put this up here, right? So I mine the block, right? So I mine this particular block, and now I got the list of all of those different blocks, right? So now I got this list, and I get this list via this gets blocks to be destroyed right here. But before that, any of that happens, right? The actual event right here is the block break event, right? So a block breaks, and we're like, all right, let's freaking go, right? Is the item in our player's hand a hammer item? Yes. Okay. Is the player a server player? This basically just means that inside of this if statement, we are on the server. Awesome. We get the initial position that was just broken, right? Meaning, let's say the block here in the middle. And this one, we say, okay, if this is already inside of the set right here, then we don't do anything. We just return and we're fine. Okay? I will explain why this is in a second. And then what we do is, let's say it's not actually in the set yet. Then we're going to go through all of the different blocks right here. And we say, okay, if this is not equal to the initial position, or if this is equal to the initial position, right? So if those match, then we will just continue in the for loop and just, basically continue along all of the different blocks here. And also if it's not for the correct tool drop, right? Meaning, for example, if we were to mine and there's like, let's say all of those top blocks here are stone, but the bottom ones are dirt, then I don't want to mine the dirt as well, because I want this to only basically mine pickaxe mineable blocks. And then you can see that the position gets added to the set. I call the server player game mode destroy block method, and then I remove it from the set. And a couple of you might be like, that kind of doesn't make any sense. Well, wait a second. The destroy block method invokes the break block event, meaning that this is more or less a recursive call, right? So if I go into this, control left click on this, you can see this is ForgeHook's on block break event, meaning that another block break event, right? I break this block manually, then all of this, stuff happens, and I'm in here, right? I get the first position to be broken, and then it's going to be this block right here. If I just destroy this block, a break block event happens again, and if I don't guard against this, right? Because now it looks, hey, is this like initial position already in this harvested blocks? It is, so I'm going to return, so I'm going to continue, right? But if this is not the case, or if both of these are not the case, right, and I just destroy the block, then it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's the initial position, and then get new ones, 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 and it's going to be a recursive loop until the game breaks, or basically crashes. And that's not what we want. That is why we need all of this craziness. But with this done, that's actually all we need in this case. Hopefully somewhat understandable to you, and that's going to make us a 3x3 hammer. So let's first of all run the data gen so that we get the item model JSON file. And once that is in, we can jump into the game and see if it works. All right, finally back in Minecraft, as you can see, the hammer has been added. If I mine blocks, you can see a 3x3 area is mined exactly sort of in the way that I'm looking at the block from. Absolutely freaking fantastic. And what's really cool is this also works in creative mode, by the way, which is actually really fun. I like that. That actually does work. But yeah, that is a custom hammer item added to Minecraft. Absolutely freaking awesome, man. Of course, in this tutorial is quite important, but as always, of course, all of the code is available down below. Next time in this video, that's what we'll talk about, custom armor, also making it trimmable, by the way. Hope to see you there. So, yeah.